Hey, Happy New Year to all of you. At the beginning of each year, I usually meet up with few hundred different leaders and entrepreneurs and go over their business plan and strategy plan for the new year. And one of the most common questions that anyone that I meet individually or in a small group scene, as a matter of fact, I'm speaking in front of over 1,000 sales leaders coming up this weekend at Seattle, and I'm one of the keynote speaker and teaching these guys how to have a breakthrough turning point year and make it 2023 the best year ever for their business, right? So when I'm mentoring people, when I'm teaching people, I'll tell you one common thing. And the common thing is that everybody come to me, they ask me questions in different forms, but really it comes down to how do I make my year a great one? How do I make 2023 a year where it's memorable, meaning my business is doubling, my numbers are tripling? How do I become more profitable? How do I scale my company, right? At the end, everybody want to grow their business. Everybody want to scale their business. Everybody want to make more income. That's the bottom line of the bottom line. So today, I'm going to share with you some very important tips and strategies that I had mastered over the years that had led me to some huge success in my business, right? Now, what you do with the informations, what you do with the contents is all on you. Now, I am someone that consume a lot of contents over the years. And I tell you the main difference between me and a lot of other people is that I know how to filter out the most authentic, real, practical contents. And eventually I learn how to apply it and execute it. And ultimately, I have to see results, right? So once again, the informations I'll be giving to you, it's on you to apply it. And if you just consume a bunch of contents and you never execute and never apply it, the informations that anybody give it to you, including I would say is useless, right? So let's get right into how do you make 2023 a memorable one? How do you make 2023 a huge success one? So the first thing I want you to do is to hit the reset button. Now, the good news is that 2023 is here, right? We are in literally the first 10 days of 2023. And just remember, your last year's victories, achievements, success, it's already in the past. I hope that every single one of you, if you belong to that category of people, entrepreneurs, leaders who had an amazing 2022, I hope you already celebrated before December 31st, 2022. Remember, the scoreboard refresh now. It doesn't count. Whatever you did last year is refreshed. It doesn't count anymore this year. Now, on the opposite is so true is that many of you probably did not have a great 2022 and you had a lot of distractions or challenges. For whatever reasons, you did not hit those numbers you set at the beginning of 2022. I also want you to hit that reset button because the good news is that everybody is tied at number one right now when the new year begins. So having that mentality, have that fresh mentality to all start all over again at the beginning of the new year, to me is an exciting thing, whether for the people who won big time last year or maybe you didn't win big time last year, okay? And the second thing, which is extremely important, is that I believe this year, if you want to have a breakthrough 2023, learn how to make decisions quicker, okay? That's the key. Successful people, they make decisions very quick, and sometimes they make the mistake too. The decision they make is a mistake, but they realize it's a mistake and they pivot, they make a turn, and ultimately get back to the right direction. Unsuccessful people who doesn't do a lot of huge things in life and business, they take a long time to make decisions, right? I'll give you a story. The last week of 2022, I had a big celebration at Lake Tahoe. At Lake Tahoe, I rented a mansion every year. I like to gather all my family and friends, and we celebrate together. It was a humongous mansion in Lake Tahoe. And if you guys know about Lake Tahoe, the last day in Lake Tahoe, it had the biggest snowstorm, right? I called the house host. I said, look, you have a snowstorm. The following day, January 1st, I want to get out of the mansion because January 2nd, there's not a storm coming. And I text the host, right? In the house, I'm not going to mention his name, but I'm going to make it up. Let's just say Steve, right? I said, Steve, I need to get out of here tomorrow. I'm gonna leave your mansion a day earlier. Can you have somebody to plow the driveway, because the whole driveway is filled with 12 inches of snow. I can't get out of there. My friends and my family, we want to get out of there. Okay, no reply whatsoever. So I had to call my personal host that set up all my traveling for me over the years, and his name, let's just call him Michael. I called Michael. I said, Michael, listen up. The house host that's rented me the mansion didn't reply my text. Would you mind to make some special call and to call different plowing company and help me to plow this driveway of the mansion so I can get out of here? Within 10 minutes, Michael called me back and said, I'm on at JW, no problem. He made few phone calls, and the bottom line is that he made it happen. Within 3 hours, there was a plowing company came over with a snow truck and plowed the entire street, and I was able to get out of Lake Tahoe on a timely manner, which is on January 1st, right? So the moral of the story is this. You have Steve and you have Michael. You know what I'm talking about? Steve doesn't reply. Something tells me that long-term wise, he's not going to do well as a host. He's not going to do well in any kind of business, right? But on the other hand, Michael initiated, made quick decisions, and initiated things. Something tells me that Michael's going to go very far in anything that he does, because anyone who can make quick decision, make precise decision, quick decision, ultimately are the people who's going to win in life, in business. So in 2023, learn how to make quicker decision. And even if you make some mistakes, it's all right. At least you can learn how to pivot. Making a quick decision and is much better than not making any decisions or take a long time to make a decision. All right. Another very, very important tip I'm going to give it to every single entrepreneur that's listening to my messages is this one. Start to build up your reputation, or start to rebuild your reputation. When you listen to the word reputation, when you hear the word reputation, what do you think of? What do you think of? Reputation to me equals your credit score, right? Your credit score. We all have a credit score in our finance, and if you want the bank to loan you money, you have to have a great credit score, right? If you don't have a great credit score, they will loan you the money and charge you an arm and a leg on interest, right? And if your credit score is horrible, nobody want to lend you any money because they don't trust you, right? So your reputation is like your credit score. I have mentored and worked with a lot of sales leaders, a lot of entrepreneurs in my career. Just a lot of people that I worked with over the last 2.5 decades. And one of the things I can tell you is that many people say something and they don't do it. And they're losing their reputation. They're losing their credit score in front of the people they're working with, in front of the people that they are leading. I hear people say, hey, you know what? I'm going to read more books this year. And they don't do it. I'm going to work out, 45 minutes a day because I need to be healthy. They do it for a few days. They don't do it. You know what? This is the year I'm going to make enough money to pay off all my debts, to make my family proud. After a week or two, they forget everything they say. Somebody might say, you know what, this is the year that I'm gonna make massive income or start a side business and a side gig to implement my full-time job. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they don't do it. You see, when you don't do what you say you're gonna do, you're gonna start to not trusting yourself. See, that's the key. Reputation comes from what? You keeping your words. And I'm talking about everything. I'm not just talking about business. I'm talking about anything that comes out from your mouth. If you can keep your words, guess what? You're gonna start to trust you. When you start to trust you, your reputation, your credit score start to go up. When you say you're gonna do something, hey, this year, every single month, I'm gonna save $5,000 a month. And you actually do it 12 months in a row, and you save 60 grand a year, and you never ever save this kind of money in a year, guess what? You're gonna have a lot more confidence now, and your reputation goes up. When you're leading a sales organization, when you're an entrepreneur, a boss, or a leader to your people, and anything that comes out from your mouth, and if you actually live by it and deliver it, guess what? People's gonna start to trust you, and your credit score goes up. Remember, when your reputation is up, money is going to follow. Now, for some of you might say, well, for the last 10, 15 years, my reputation is not good to myself because, yeah, you're right, JW. I say a lot of things, but I never, ever deliver. I never do it. No problem, because this is the year for you to rebuild that reputation. Because at the end of everything, no one is going to judge a man or woman when they fall. Everyone is going to judge someone How they rise is after they fall. Remember this, you can fail 10 times. If you win one massive victory, people don't remember the time you fall. They only remember when you're winning. So that's a good news, right? You always can refresh and restart and re-execute. Another tip I want to give it to you, which is start to compete. Start to compete, get into the beast mode. Get into the beast mode. Think about it, lion, they call it the king of jungle, right? But if you really think about it, is lion the biggest animal in the jungle? No. There are a lot more animals that's bigger than a lion. Elephant is bigger, right? Is lion the fastest animal in the jungle? Of course not. I would say it's a cheetah, right? But why we call, or everybody call, lion is the king of the jungle? It's because he's in a beast mode. He's in the beast mode. His mentality is in the beast mode, right? That's the difference, right? But you need to get into the beast mode. How do you get that beast mode? Is to surround yourself purposely and intentionally with people who's crushing it, who's killing it in life and business. Look, one of the main things that helped me to elevate my life in business for over 2.5 decades is that I'm constantly surrounding myself with people who's ahead of me. Might not be way ahead of me at the beginning, but at least ahead of me, because you always can learn something. And if you play ball with people who's better than you, you improve your skill set. Just like in business, if you are in an environment, in a company, in an office, in a region, in the nation, and you're working and you're competing with the people in the same company with you or the same industry with you, everybody has a scoreboard. If you're gonna compete with people who's above you, you go up. If you're gonna compete with people who's on the side by side, that's at least, it's fair, right? You're not bullying anybody, it's same level, that's okay too. But most people that I work with and mentor, I tell you, they love to compete with people who's below them. When you compete with people who's below you, it's like you are in college and you compete with somebody who's in elementary school. What's that called? Well, that's kind of called like what? Bullying people, right? That's kind of like, you have a lot more advantage, but the bottom line is that you're not growing. You are not growing. So, I hear a lot of different teachers, a lot of different mentors, and a lot of different people have different philosophy, and that's okay. Whoever, everybody have their own philosophy. I hear people say, well, don't compete, don't compete. Competition, you don't need to compete. You just want to make sure that you collaborate and working with everybody. I get that. Before you collaborate, guess what? You got to compete with yourself first. You got to beat your prior best first, right? Then you compete with the people around you. Not combating, you're not like putting people down. You're not backstepping people. That's called combating. But competing is a healthy thing in any sport teams. That's why we watch playoffs that's coming up the next 2 weeks, right? That's why we watch NBA, NFL. People say, well, I don't like to compete, but they're the one who watch every single game in football. Everybody, every single time they watch them because they care about the score, right? That same goes to life. You got to learn how to compete up. If it's not compete up right now, at least compete somebody who's at your level, and that's the least, right? So competition to me is the code of success, and that is the code to open up the vault. Anybody who challenge you not to compete, I'll promise you one thing, you're gonna start to make a little bit of money, but you're not gonna have massive success. That's just my philosophy. Post a comment below. You might agree, you might not agree. Fantastic, I'm okay with each way, but I'll tell you the way I grew my life in business is that I'm always picking people ahead of me to compete with them. Now, when I pick other people to compete with, guess what? I actually respect that person. Otherwise, why would I pick that person to compete with? So competition is not about being hostile to your competitor. Competition to me is if I pick you as a competitor, I actually respect you. That's the way I look at competition. And break away from the OU. Break away from the OU. Write down a list of habits, behaviors, leaks that you have accumulated over the last so many years that's slowing you down in life, slowing down in business. You write down, by yourself. Spend about 48 hours individually by yourself. Nobody's around you. Start to write down in your life, in your business, what is stopping you, and you got to write down honest, authentically, what do you know? What do you believe are your leaks that's slowing you down in your business, in not having a great relationship with some of the people that used to have great relationship with you? Write it all that, right? And the key is being honest, because you're not showing this list to anybody else except yourself. Because the key to success, the key to have breakthrough, the key to have turning point is what? Is to be able to face the truth. A lot of people, they live in a delusional world, and they never, ever reevaluate their own behaviors. And they're always thinking it's other people's fault. And they wonder, wow, why is my business not growing? Why my team is not growing? Why the good people leave me and the only people who's around me is the bad one? It's like the cream of the crop is gone, but I have the bottom barrel people stay with me. Why is that, right? So I have learned myself over the years to always constantly write down my own leaks, being honest with those leaks, confront those leaks, and then I come up with a specific call to action plan to fill in those leaks. That's what's helping me to grow years after years. And guys, I can go on and on. The last thing I want you to do is this, be a doer, be a dominator in your space. Whatever you do, I don't care what you do. I don't care what career you're in. I don't care what a passion you have. Whatever you choose to do, become the dominator, become the doer in that particular job, career, space, industry, right? Because, we all live only once. Remember this, life could be very long to a lot of people, and life could be very short to a lot of people. We don't know how long we have on this earth, but what we do know is that when you're living on this earth, did you give all you got? Did you maximize your potential? And I think the biggest regrets in life for any human being is not about they fail many times. I really believe in that. After being an entrepreneur and a sales leader and dealt with a lot of leaders, now I'm mentoring many people, in my company and also outside of my company today. The biggest emotional damage is not when you fail. Again, it is when you have the biggest regret in your life. I mean, regret hurts. It's long term. Regret is permanent. When you fail, it's temporary because you always can rebound back. So don't let regret become a permanent thing in your life. And I want you to imagine when you're 75, 80 years old, and we're gonna all get to 75, 80 years old one day, sooner or later, right? And you're sitting in front of your grandkids, your kids, or friends and whatnot, and one of the little kids come up to you. It could be your grandkid, your own grandkid, and come up to, hey, a granddad, grandmom, tell me about your life. You have two responses, right? The first response is that you're going to start to tell your experience of your life to your grandson or granddaughter, and tell them that you went through a lot of struggles and eventually won one big time. That could be a story, right? Another story would be something that you start off like saying like, hey, I wish this, I wish that, I wish I started my side business when I was younger, when I had more energy. I wish I did that. I wish I made a decision quicker and whatnot, right? So two outcome when you're talking to your grandkid one day. Which one do you want? Which one do you want to share with your grandkid? That's all on you right now. It's never too late. The last thing I want to say to every single one of you is it's never too late. It's never too late. If you're 62 right now, guess what? You still have a long time to live, right? If you're 25 years old right now, it's never, ever too early to be ambitious and maximize your potential and get everything that you want in life. And ultimately, the goal is what? Ultimately, here's the goal. When you make it big, when you become very successful. When I say successful, I'm not talking about just money. The money is just one piece of it. In your wisdom, in your knowledge, in your experience. Don't be a hater. Don't be a jealous individual. Don't be one of those guys that's greedy and want a lot more. Like a lot of people that you see in the world today and keep manipulating the people and eventually lose everything. Don't be one of them. When you accumulate success in your capacity, guess what? Give it back. Teaching people your experience. Give them your experience. Show them the how-to. Remember where you come from. Live your life with absolute gratitude. And most important, start to give your money back. And helping charities, helping your church, helping temples, whatever you believe in. Guys, does it make sense for you? I hope that my message resonate with a lot of you today. May 2023 be the best year you ever have in your business career and in your life. Guys, thank you for your trust. Great to be your mentor, great to be your teacher. If you love my content, I'm challenging every single one of you. who's watching my messages and contents, leave me comments and share with me what you learn. And most importantly, I also want to learn from you and share my video to anyone that you believe can benefit out of my messages, okay? As always, I really appreciate that. At the bottom, there's a link. Click the link below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and most importantly, subscribe to my Just Win app. It's free. There's a free version of the app. You subscribe it, and there's 1,000 of videos in there you can view that I have produced over the last, decade or so. Okay, guys? Let's crush it in 2023. Take care. JW here. If you like my content, comment below and download my JW Just Win app. See you next time.